Infirmary Media.
Hey dudes and dudettes, thanks for tuning into this short announcement episode of the Be Kind and Rewind podcast, a podcast chock full of topics about the 80s, 90s, and more with retro celebrity interviews and fact-filled movie commentaries. I'm your host, as always, Carlos, and this episode, the podcast is not ending. But I do have a few things to announce. I'm looking to take the podcast in a few new directions for a couple of reasons. First off, I've been presented some other opportunities outside of the podcast that are pretty much looking to align me with some things I've been looking to get into for a while. First, I just kind of want to focus some time on designing some t-shirts for a line of designs that I want to begin selling online and at some local arts and crafts shows here in town. I've been selling like about a dozen designs on TeePublic for over a year now. And the sales have been pretty steady for a little while, and then over the last few months I've been seeing a nice steady increase to the point now where I feel like the sales, as well as the compliments I would get whenever I'd wear, like, I have a Wayne's World shirt, I have a Star Wars shirt, a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle one. Go check it out. All kinds of designs, but whenever I wear one out and about, always bound to have at least a couple people shouting out. So it makes me feel good. It makes you feel good that the people like the designs, and also with the sales increasing like they have been over the last few months, I felt, I think I'm ready to take the next steps. And in order for me to do that, I do need to come up with some more designs, and I just need to take a little more time, carve out a little more time each week to be able to do some stuff like that, to take that next step. And so that's the first thing. The first reason that we're moving the podcast in some new directions that we'll get into here in a second. The second thing, I've been presented an opportunity to work in radio as a producer, which is huge. And it's for a local radio station here in Denver. And in order for me to do that as well, I'm going to need to carve out some time more delicately to make that work here before too long. And if you've been listening to the podcast for a while, you know that radio is, it's been my goal for a long time. Since grade school, I did the internship. I did the high school radio stuff, and then in college, I did the internship to post-college, did, promotion stuff down in Tampa. And now here I am, with this opportunity that I am excited. I'm thankful for. The podcast has been a huge, tremendous help in bridging the gap and helping out with this opportunity. So, and it's not to say that it's taken away. They're both going to enhance each other, which just kind of like I said, I have to carve out a little bit more time to make sure that all these things fit in my life, because I do have a wife and I do have a life outside of all these things as well. And so it's a fine balance, and I just want to keep making sure that I'm producing good content, that you enjoy what we're bringing to you in regards to each episode, because, putting out an episode each week, as fun as it is, as much as I love it, sometimes it's a grind. Sometimes, you get to Tuesday or Wednesday, like, I have not gotten this thing planned for this week, and you're scrambling. And so it gets a little stressful sometimes. And as much as I love it, I'm passionate about podcasting. I love broadcasting. I love the editing. I love talking to other people. I love learning about other things. There's just other things in my life, too, that are starting to take over. Starting to come up that, I want to devote some time to that as well on top of the podcast. So that leads to some of the directions that, the podcast has been going into. So instead of episodes being released every Throwback Thursday, it's going to be released every other Throwback Thursday. So approximately looking to do, instead of 4 episodes a month, we're going to looking to do 2 episodes per month. And I know it's not the greatest news in the world to hear that you're going to be hearing less of a podcast you probably like to listen to fairly often, but now that I would have more time in between each podcast, I'm going to have more time to plan out, to dedicate to producing, getting that great content. The research is key. That's why for most people who've written reviews, and thank you for those who have, and if you haven't, go ahead and do that. If you can on iTunes, definitely helps people who can find the podcast just searching around. But those who've written reviews have talked about, they've loved the fact that they hear all the research that's gone in. And yes, that's the key thing, is if I have a little more time to do some research and to get the episodes lined up a little bit more sometimes, I think the content that you're going to be here, that you've been hearing, that you love so much, that you've been tuning into, you're going to love even more, because we're going to have more time to make these episodes even better. And it's not to say that episodes are being phoned in. I'm just saying, when you put out an episode every week, sometimes one or two will fall through the cracks here and there. But I do appreciate everyone tuning in every week. All the comments we get on social media, all the reviews we get, all the engagements on YouTube. I really love it. And so I'm not saying that we're stepping away because, I feel like we're not getting enough engagement or anything. I just feel like there's other things in my life right now that I do want to focus on top of the podcast, but I need to, make sure there's a fine balance, because that's what they say in life. To make things work is you got to find that nice fine balance. So, with the 2 episodes per month, it's still going to be a good mixture of, the retro topics discussions that we're going to have with myself and Dylan, or we'll have other podcasts on. So we're going to have a new setup of new stream of new podcasts we're going to have on that you're going to be hearing from, that you can get into. We're going to have some more retro celebrity interviews. I know we haven't had one in a while since good old Donnie from Wild and Crazy Kids, but I will admit that was one part of the podcast that kind of fell off for me. It was sometimes it's definitely a grind to get those celebrity interviews, and so now with some time on my hands, we're going to be able to get back on the train, and we're going to get ourselves some awesome guests coming up. So tune in. Like I said, I don't fall out on us in regards to the celebrity interviews. We're going to bring those back. And then, of course, everyone's favorite, the fact-filled movie commentaries, which I love too. I attribute those to like the VH1 pop-up video. Just put on the movie, listen to us, and I'll just hear about facts throughout the movie, facts about what's going on during the movie, things that went on behind the scenes, stories that we heard through the commentary. So it's just, you're going to hear all kinds of things. If you've seen the movie 100 times, that's great. But after you listen to one of those fact-filled movie commentaries, you're going to have all these facts that you're going to annoy your other friends and family with next time you go watch that movie. They're going to be like, will you stop telling us these things that no one cares about? Well, you and we care about it. And so that's why I love doing the factual movie commentaries. I love doing the research, and I love because I learned so much about these movies that, I've seen so many times, but once we get and start reading about the history and the behind the scenes, it's really cool. So definitely there'll be a mixture of, like I said, the retro topics, the celebrity interviews, and also the fact-filled movie commentaries. So, like I said, just nothing too much changing other than the fact that we're just going from 4 episodes a month to just 2 episodes a month. And there's still going to be 2 awesome episodes you're going to get each month. They're going to be, streamlined with better content, with more fireworks, more fire, more explosions. Well, maybe not all that, but there's just going to be, I think, more, just more enhanced with the time that I have to put into the research and into producing these episodes. So again, I really appreciate everybody sticking around, sticking around through these next few phases of the podcast. I've always trying to do a little bit evolving, say with insanity, doing the same thing and expecting the same result. I've loved the results so far, but I like mixing things up as well. So I kind of want to just see what it would be like to just try these other endeavors, but also, try some new things with the podcast as well. So again, thank you all for sticking around, tuning in. We're going to have an episode out, not next week, but the following week. So this is the last of the consistent episodes. So we'll be starting our every other week here in September. So I really encourage everyone to reach out if you have any discussion topics, if you have questions about me, if you have questions about the podcast, or just questions in general about some of the topics that we talked about, you can always throw an email. It's in the Instagram. I will list it down below, so you can always hit us up. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I'm always engaging with people. So if you want to get a shout out onto the podcast, I'm always putting out polls on Twitter. That's really the main place we do a lot of the engagements when it comes to the Twitter polls. But I'll try to do better and do more stuff with the Facebook and Instagram. So, but other than that, again, make sure you tune in now every other Throwback Thursdays for new episodes of the podcast. So thanks, and be excellent to each other.
Infirmary Media.